49er mind is
It's not just a thought process, but a way of life.
49er mind. 49er mind.
Can't shake it. It's 49er mind that I got. It's 49er shine that I got. My psyche's on another Frisco Super Bowl. Don't sit slow, cause here we go with a super show. A written go session about our red and gold obsession. With some well-controlled expressions, let's talk about that win that we got. Who should have been in the spot? That's how it's been in the spot. Let's roll that back, all that crack, all that straight fumble sack. Or just dial it on up if you wanna talk smack. It don't matter what the storyline, as long as the story aligns with a 49er mind.
49er mind.
It's not just a thought process,
49er mind,
but a way of life. For sure.
49er mind.
Way of life.
49er mind.
Hello, we are here. We're live with another edition of Ballin' with Bash and Ted. I got my co-host with me. Ted, how you doing?
Good, Bash, and yourself? Happy Faithful Friday.
Doing good, man. Can't complain. Let's say what's up to some people who've been waiting patiently in the chat. We got a few people, early birds, for the birds that we're about to play. So James Jordanal is here. He says, "You ever gonna do a call-in show, bro? Need to force feed you some stats and gaslight you about Purdy." This guy's on a man on a mission, apparently.
What's up, James?
James in the
UK. From across the pond, yeah.
There you go. Red Jets here says Niner gang. She was at the game actually. You were there too, right? You were at the game?
I was at the game. Yeah, not many Seahawks fans at the game.
That's funny. We'll talk about that in a minute. Jimmy Perez says, "What's up, Bashar and Ted? We got Niner Sickness Podcast. What's up, man?" And yeah, so we got some more people that will be coming in on Ted's chat, on my chat, and definitely make sure to shout out everybody. Rob D says, "Bang bang Niner gang, good to see you." And yeah, really quick, tell us something about your experience at the game, just a general experience. You said there weren't that many Seahawks fans. Sounds like this whole Seahawk bandwagon phenomena that existed in the Bay Area at one point isn't necessarily relevant nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, this is my fourth Seahawk game that I've been to, and we're now 2-2 in those games. I went when we lost on Halloween of 2019. I went when we lost in 2021 at Levi's when Jimmy G hurt his calf and Trey Lance played the second half. Went to the wild card, and then I went Sunday. Yeah, it's by far the least Seahawks I've seen ever at Levi's. There were a lot Halloween, a lot in 2021, a lot less for the wild card, and even less on Sunday. It was great to see. There were a few in our section, but those are some of the few I saw the whole day, honestly.
Okay, that reminds me because I was thinking to myself, maybe I've never been to a Seahawks Niner game, but actually I have been to a few of them. The first one I remember was the one back when Mike Singletary was the coach, and JT O'Sullivan was our quarterback, and it was Fumble City, Interception City that game. And at that point, the JT O'Sullivan experiment we knew was pretty much at its gonna end right then and there because he did not look good at all for us. And Vernon Davis got kicked out of the game, and that's when Singletary had that whole "I want winners" speech after the game, so to speak. And that was not that game. That was a big major debacle at Candlestick. And then later at Candlestick, when we had Harbaugh and they had a Russell Wilson, I got to see the 49ers beat the Seahawks, which was pretty cool. This is before the rivalry was kind of heating up. That was like in the very early stages, you could say. And definitely saw the Niners play and beat Seattle last year, first game of the year, when Trey Lance got hurt and Jimmy G stepped in. And so, yeah. But yeah, I mean, Seattle's fans at the games, and from my personal experiences in terms of just the fans, they're okay. I mean, they're not the kind of fan base that is gonna start something, at least if they're on the road. But yeah, that's just funny to me that you said you barely saw any though. That's hilarious.
No doubt about it. Yeah, no, it's good to see them dwindling away. I noticed it, in my preview article before the game. I said that the Niners were due for a letdown, and people who didn't read the article got on me like, no chance. I'm like, I didn't say like a loss. I just said a letdown and a win, but just not like a win like we had against the Eagles, who I think are a better team, and we obviously beat much more soundly. But even some Seahawks fans chimed in the comments saying like, oh, I'm a Seahawks fan, and I'll tell you that's not going to happen. And I was like, all right, we'll see. So I had some good receipts to go back to people after that and just be like, I think I pretty much nailed it in my article. I said that Kenneth Walker or Charbonnet would have to play. I said that. Well, this is kind of interesting. I don't know if we want to get into this just yet. But there's some injury carryover from last week that is similar to this week. And I had some spicy stuff to say about it, but I don't want to it's your show. I don't want to
Oh, we'll cover that in just a second.
Yeah, that's what I want.
Yeah,
I got a feeling that I might be getting a little
when you're saying trying to tell them to read the article, it just keeps thinking of the saying in my head, like, read the tea leaves, read the tea leaves. People always say that when it comes to certain
or RTFM, read the effing manual, man. Come on.
Oh, that one. People who just got here.
It's a tech term.
Steve, I remember that. I know that as well. Steve Suprio's here, says bang bang. Wero Steve been on some of my post game shows, says bang bang Niner gang. Tommy Huxley says, "Oh well, I don't know about that, man. He's just trying to be funny. He's always saying
Tommy always comes in with something,
I know he's just
a little bit negative. I take it as a term of endearment. I don't take it personally.
Tommy Huxley.
Tommy Huxley.
Oh, Tyler Miller's here. That's cool. What's up, Tyler? He runs the On Base Soil podcast. I was watching him and his boy yesterday. His co-host that goes by the name of I Need the Cheese. I don't know his real name, but Tyler Miller is a known person on the chats for 95.7 The Game, the Morning Roast, and he's actually been in the studio for the Morning Roast with Bonte Hill and Joe Shasky. So really, really good guy, just really passionate Bears sports fan, goes to a lot of games, and he just has so much fun when he's going on his live streams, and you can just tell the passion's there. Really, check out his channel, by the way. It's called On Base Soil. If you want to drop the link in the chat, or I could drop the link for you because people will be able to click on it if I drop it. Definitely check him out. Tyler's an awesome dude. And we got who else is here? Rob D is in the chat. I mentioned him earlier. Oh, Somi's here. What's up, Somi?
Somi,
good to see you. Somi's a guy, one of the first guys to tell me about Javon Kinlaw. And he's starting to come around a little bit. I don't think we're going to keep him because it's not going to make sense to me to pick up his 5th-year option, but it's good that we're finally getting some production out of him. Sandra from Twitter says joined. Okay, interesting. That's probably from your Twitter. You probably because you have your Twitter linked, and I have mine linked as well. But
I didn't know you could chat from Twitter, though.
Yeah, I didn't know either. That's news to me. But I know they do have a feature on Twitter where it says so and so is streaming now.
Yeah.
So it does have something, and I saw a little sidebar, so you can actually probably chat on there now.
You know what I saw in the last couple of days too on StreamYard was that you can stream on Insta now too. Did you notice that?
I did see that on StreamYard. I tried to set it up. It has some tricky things about it. I actually had to change my Instagram account to do, but I think when it streams, it only does it in that rectangular fashion, though. So I'd have to toy around with that and try a test stream one day before I actually put it to use. But I saw that as well. Mm-hmm.
I really don't stream a lot to other platforms just because I feel like people are lazy and they'll watch it on that platform, and I want them to come to YouTube, and so I'll stream the link. I'll post the links on other platforms. But I usually don't stream the show other than to Twitter, just because I know a lot of times I've been on Twitter and seen someone's come up, and then I pop over to YouTube to watch it so I can comment. But that's kind of cool. Welcome, Sandra. And I've never seen her before on YouTube, so maybe she is just a Twitter.
Yeah, it says Twitter. It says Twitter. Yeah. So John LaJoy is here. Says, let's go with 49ers, bro. Who else is here? We got Dynamite Day. What's up, bro? Says, yo, guys, good to see you. We got another Twitter person, John. I don't know who that is, but it says joined. Good to see you. Carcast 49ers is here. What's up, Carcast? Says Ravens will have Mark Andrews. Well, we're jumping a little early for going to be talking about the Ravens, but yeah, I heard that he's out. I wasn't sure if he was going to come back or not when we play him. And yeah,
people say, oh yeah, the Niners won't. This can't be a trap game. It's that right there is exactly why this is a trap game, because fans, and I'm sure 49ers are looking ahead to that Ravens game. It's going to be a huge matchup Christmas Day, and nobody thinks the Cards can do much, or even and for instance, today I saw a thing where they're picking third right now in the 2024 draft. And so here's a reason why the Cards won't win on Sunday, because And I'm not saying they can't or they won't. I did say that on the timeline, but I wouldn't say that, in a more nuanced conversation. Of course, any team can win any given Sunday, but that's a reason why they might not want to win, is to protect that number 3 overall draft pick.
They may have their eyes set on somebody who knows, perhaps a new quarterback. Hint. I don't think Kyler Murray wants to hear that. Oh, Dynamite Dave says he's headed to Arizona tomorrow. Oh, good, you're gonna be at the game. Cool, man. Says takeover coming. Yeah, I was just thinking to myself, why haven't I ever planned this? A trip to go to Arizona to see the 49ers play out there. I need to do that next year. Javier Rio says, hey fellas, it's true that we have 6 players out on defense. We're gonna get into that too. Ted's got that covered, and if you want to cover that as well, who's going to be out and who's going to be playing, let's dive right into it in this whole Arizona game.
Let's dive right in. So I've got it in a bookmark, so let me get there real quick.
Okay.
So Nick Wagner posted about an hour ago, injury report for Kyle Shanahan. Out Hargrave, Armstead, Dwelly, Burks, Elijah Mitchell. Questionable, Greenlaw, Burford, Aaron Banks, and Mooney Ward. Interesting that he says Mooney Ward. I like that even the reporter.
Yeah, well, he prefers to be called that. Everybody tends to say it. Charvarius Ward is I usually just
feel like every time I say Mooney, I say Charvarius too, just in case there's like someone who only knows him as that.
And when we had Tarvarius Moore on the team, it was kind of confusing because you got Tarvarius Moore and Charvarius.
Ward. They did sound a lot alike.
Similar.
Yeah, a lot. You're right. I remember a few times where I was like, oh man, who are they talking about?
So Tyler says Baines came back today practice with Greenlaw, so that's good to know. Yeah, I wouldn't want Banks to be out of the game. I mean, I guess we could kind of survive with certain players not necessarily playing or maybe saving them for more important games. But again, you mentioned the whole trap game aspect. Trap games do exist in the NFL especially when you're playing that weaker team, and then you have the better game, the stronger team ahead. And the next week against the Ravens. So the Cardinals have had like 4 starts with Kyler Murray right now, right? So they're 2-2 with him. That's kind of better than I thought they'd do with Kyler Murray returning. It's not spectacular, but for that weak team, kind of decent. But
one of those was the Steelers with Mitch Trubisky as their quarterback. So
yeah, 24-10 victory. Yeah, those victory on the road, 24-10. Kyler Murray only put up 145 yards, but it was good enough for them to win 1 touchdown win. There's 0 interceptions. In the games, he's only thrown 1 touchdown each game that he's played in. And there was another game against the Falcons where he didn't throw a touchdown at all. He threw an interception. So he's not really putting up great numbers, but usually he'll throw for 200 yards or so. One game against the Rams, threw for 256. Another game against the Falcons, 249. The past game, he only threw for 145. And we all know that he's just threat out of the backfield. Just run, he's just super, super quick, super speedy. It's kind of scary sometimes when he has open field because it just looks so damn speedy out there. So he's had a few games. His biggest running output was against the Texans. 7 rushes for 51 yards, 7.3 a carry. Longest run was 22 yards. So there's that scary old school Russell Wilson aspect to his game. You could say that gives the 49er fits. When he steps out of the pocket and starts to run wild. So, we're probably going to do some similar things that we did to Jalen Hurts in this upcoming game. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting as far as with Kyler. You think about how he contained Jalen Hurts with the mush rush, where Bosa was basically just bull rushing. There was no like spin moves. There was no stunts. It was just bull rusher guy back to the quarterback, wait there for help to arrive. And then everybody pounce once he's fully surrounded. But I think it'll be a lot tougher to do that without Hargrave and Armstead. And Kyler's, let's face it, he's a lot more elusive than Jalen Hurts. He's a lot quicker. I think he's probably faster too. He's not as powerful, but the quickness is the key with him. He just makes guys miss and runs away from people. So it could be a lot more trouble to contain Kyler. Cards O-line clearly not comparable to the Eagles O-line, but I'd say they're kind of underrated as an O-line. And, they got some weapons. They got Rondale Moore. I don't know about what's up with Hollywood Brown. I haven't seen anything recently, but I know he was listed in red all week on our lads. That would be a big loss for them if Hollywood Brown can't go this week. And then obviously James Conner is a beast. Somebody talked about him in the here. Tyler says, wait, there's James Conner revenge game. Somebody said, I hope something about Hufanga. Somebody gets revenge for Hufanga on James Conner. I don't know where that was. Oh, there, Tyler Miller. Now I'm looking forward to punk James to punk James Conner for Hufanga. But it kind of brings up an interesting point when we're talking about injuries. And obviously, Mooney Ward would be a big loss. Obviously, Hargrave is a big loss. Armstead is a big loss. Some of the other injuries are a little more questionable. For instance, when Aaron Banks was out, Feliciano filled in really well for him. And then right as Banks came back, Burford was out. Feliciano filled in really well for him. I wrote in my article last week before the Seahawks game that I felt like if Burford didn't go, that honestly our O-line I think is better with Feliciano at right guard than Burford. So if Burford can't play this week and Banks can, and Feliciano's on right guard, I think we're better off in the short term. I obviously want Burford to get playing time. I want him to improve. I want him to work his way into his man body, his NFL body, and all that. But I wouldn't mind seeing some kind of a platoon situation like we did with Brunskill and Burford in 2022 between Feliciano and Burford moving forward, because I want to develop Burford, but I also want to leverage the strength of Feliciano and the toughness. I think he's a real good, for our scheme at least, a good lineman. And, then obviously with Hufanga, he was an All-Pro last year. I'll be honest, I didn't think he deserved to be an All-Pro. I thought he was good. I could see Pro Bowl for last year, but I didn't think All-Pro. And now Jair Brown has come in, and he's playing really, really well. I'm not going to say he's better than Hufanga. It's way too early and too few games. But, man, he's looked really good, other than a few miscues, that big 41-yarder when he first came in against the Bucs. He missed a tackle on the tight end from Stanford for the Seahawks on the TD that the Seahawks had. Jair Brown definitely over pursued and missed tackling. Cody Parkinson. Anyway, but other than a couple or three plays in 2.5 games, and he has obviously had the game-sealing interception against the Bucs. He had a big pick against the Seahawks. A lot of people saw it coming. I thought Jair Brown would be good. I didn't think he would be like a bigger version of Hufanga. I mean, I did from a measurables perspective. I just didn't think he would play quite this well, especially this quickly. Really, what a great story. I'm so happy about that.
Yeah, we lucked out because and no knock on Jair Brown, because it could have been a situation where he was a rookie with some growing pains, and which is natural because it's not like we were implementing Jair, not like we had Jair Brown mixed in the lineup at all to prep him for any loss of any of our safeties, So, we kind of had Jair Brown just riding the pine for the most part, and here he comes in, steps right in, and he's playing pretty well. So I mean, he almost had an interception against the one that Fred Warner got. He actually he said he could have got that interception, but he let Fred Warner get it. So which is pretty cool. But yeah, I like Jair Brown. I mean, what impressed me most about Jair Brown was the way he was the way he huddled up and was just telling people what to do in the huddle, man. He sounded like a guy who's been there for 5 or 10 years, man. So that was pretty impressive for a rookie. He just hopped in, mid-season. So yeah, I'm definitely happy with his progression. You mentioned Feliciano earlier. Feliciano's a lot better than I thought he'd be. I mean, I read about him in terms of when we signed him about what his experience was all about. And he had played pretty much 4 of the 5 offensive line positions, and he has starting experience on other teams. I just wasn't sure how good he'd be, in a Niner uniform. And honestly, when I watch him, there's times where he's better, in my opinion, better than what we've seen from Brunskill. So, and it's kind of like that weird double-edged sword, because again, you mentioned how we want to develop what's his name, Burford, but you kind of want the best players on the field too at the same time. So I don't know. Who knows? I mean, maybe with some teams, Feliciano would match up better than Burford does. It is what it is. But we'll if we have to worry about that, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Who else is here in the chat? I think I missed somebody else. Fazil's here. He's already dropping the score predictions since 34-17. Good to see you, bro. And I think the way it works with the whole Twitter thing is when Polero 49ers, I don't know who that is, but for it says Lakers and Dodgers. It says USC Dodgers. There you go. Well, I think it's whenever somebody clicks on the clicks as a viewer onto the Twitter stream, it'll say joined. So, but
yeah.
it's so because everybody on everybody's just keep saying joined. It's
And
not
there's
like
no
it's not
chat. I get it.
like, it's not
Okay.
like they're chatting. Yeah,
Because it said
And-
it always said like, oh, they'll know you joined, but this never happened before. This is new. That this
yeah.
is
It's just a
actually
thing where it just notifies you
alerting
that they joined. Yeah, that's
Oh,
what
that's cool. At least we
what
can
I'm
call
getting
them
from.
out and they get a little recognition. But honestly,
Yeah.
folks, come on over and watch us on YouTube. You know, it really helps. Our links to our YouTube channels are in both of our bios.
Definitely hit the like button too when you
Yeah,
do
hit
go
the
on
like
YouTube.
button, hit subscribe, check us out on YouTube. Then you can actually, chat in the chat with all the audience and with us, and we're pretty responsive to folks. I saw one where somebody was asking like, "Hey, can't we sign Kinlaw next year?" And yeah, I mean, we can make Kinlaw. Oh, here we go. Rob D said, "Can't Kinlaw be back on a new contract? We declined his 5th-year option, so he'll be a free agent, but could have signed him without a 5th-year guarantee money." Yeah, we could make Kinlaw an offer for sure. I mean, if I'm Kinlaw, I'm probably taking most any other offer besides the 49ers because we kind of, spat in his face a little bit by not picking up it. I think players take that as a big, I don't know what's the right word.
A sign of disrespect.
Disrespect, the diss that you didn't pick up their 5th-year option. So I think a lot of times they have a chip on their shoulder from that. It could be that he's like, hey, yeah, this is a great team, and if we don't win the Super Bowl this year, we're likely to be contending again next year, or if we do, we're still likely to be contending again next year. And now that Hargrave and Armstead are out, he's our best interior defensive player, I would have to say, unless you think it's Givens. I tend to think it's Kinlaw.
For a while, I thought it was Givens, but yeah, Kinlaw's stepping up, but he's even getting in on the pass rush more so than he ever has. So hopefully this is a continuous thing, at least for a while we have him to help us on this playoff push, on this playoff run. I'll definitely take it, And a lot of people wrote Kinlaw off this season, including myself. I saw him get tossed around like a rag doll against the Eagles last year in the playoff game, and it just seemed like a very lackluster draft pick for us, but maybe he's finally coming around to be, somebody that we could have that we can trust in rotation. And we need him more so this week because, some guys at his position aren't going to be there.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Kinlaw was one of the standouts at camp for sure. It was like Ayuk was the best player, and Kinlaw was probably the second best player in all of camp. And I was going to say, when we were talking about Feliciano, one thing that surprised me about him doing this well this year was he wasn't very good in camp or preseason, but somehow when the regular season hit, he really played well when Banks went out and when Burford went out. He's done a great job. I think he had like a high 80s PFF ranking or something like that, which is pretty crazy. I don't think he's that good, but I think he's a little better than Burford.
You mean for this season, Feliciano has a high 80
Yeah,
ranking?
some crazy
Okay,
high
interesting.
PFF ranking.
Yeah, I rarely go on PFF and check things out because I'm not a subscriber to them, but sometimes just for the heck of it, I'll just check certain players on PFF rankings.
I don't subscribe to them. It was on the timeline. I just saw.
Yeah.
Somebody
sometimes people post it on Twitter.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, but sometimes I'll be surprised. I'll check some Niners rankings. I'm like, okay, well, I just checked it now. It's ranking 76.4 for the season, which actually is pretty good for that website. But some people don't like PFF ratings, some people do, but it's okay to do a little comparison here and there with certain.
Maybe the 88 was against the Seahawks then.
Yeah, they do have individual game ratings for PFF.
It was more recent. So
they post them on Twitter. I've seen them do that. And Worowski says, I want to see Purdy throw deep again. Hey, he's been doing pretty good as of late, right? So can't complain
Purdy's
about
been
that.
doing amazing. I was talking to you about it backstage. That was one of my big concerns with Brock Purdy coming into the season, was that he didn't throw good deep balls in 2022. And boy, has he, proved me wrong. I thought he didn't have the arm for it. And like I was telling Bash, like, I'm getting ready. I'm going to have to start throwing around the E word, the elite word. I've got him between 3 and 6. And so this year I'm thinking there's like 4 elite quarterbacks. So if he's 3 or 4, then he's elite. If he's 5 or 6, not yet. And somebody's like, well, can't you narrow it down, Ted? And I'm like, yeah, I'll narrow it down 3 to 6. There you go. And ultimately, I think the way it'll work is I'll just go 3 to 6, 2 to 5, 1 to 4, 1 to 3, and 1 to 2. And eventually, if it keeps going 1 to 1, that he's the best quarterback in the NFL. I think it may take more games to do that than we have left, even counting the postseason this year. But I'd love to see that happen at some point for Purdy. And, like I said, I'd much rather be happy than right. And it makes me very happy to have a quarterback who can not only have Steve-O Suprema said something about big brain. I said he is a mental giant. I said that even during the offseason when I said he was mid. I said he was a mental giant. I just thought his physical stuff would keep him from doing what he's been doing, but it hasn't. He's been electric and amazing. He's been playing elite. I'll say that. I'm just not willing to say that he is elite until I see it longer. And but he's on the way. I mean, it's just a few games left, I think, before even I will be forced to call Brock Purdy elite.
Yeah, I mean, like everybody's gonna admit that Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league. Obviously it's hard not to say that. Got 2 Super Bowls under his belt, and he's put up some amazing numbers in the majority of his NFL seasons. Now, this season, not so much in terms of numbers and what he's been doing. Some people say it's because he doesn't have the guys to throw to like before, but I'm sure any team in the league would probably take Mahomes over who they have right now currently. But with that said, though, I mean, Purdy's playing as good as ball as you could possibly play. Now, who knows if this is something that he does throughout the rest of his career? None of us really know that, but I think he'll still be pretty good throughout. From here on out. I just don't know how good he'll be. But this season, he's great. He's spectacular so far this season. So I'm having a lot of fun watching Purdy. Everybody else is, and especially with this team that we have going with a lot of guys that have been together and they're thirsty to do something. And the production's there from Debo, from Ayuk, from Kittle, and DMC. Obviously, people say he should be MVP, and some people even throwing Brock Purdy in the MVP race, and it's just great. It's a very fun offense to watch. Usually we score, I think we're averaging about 30 points a game, so maybe 29 points a game. I know we had a dip because of those 3 games where we only put up 17, but other than those three games, the offense has been electric. Yeah, so Tyler Miller says I got Lamar over Purdy and CMC for MVP. Okay, actually, I did put up Tyler's YouTube channel in the put up right here in the chat. It's called On Base Soil. If you want to subscribe to it, you can click the link and check it out. Yeah, it's a fun YouTube channel to watch. I definitely recommend. David McNider's here. What's up, bro? Good to see you here. And let's see what else we got. Oh yeah, the 30 for Purdy. Definitely, I'm a firm believer in that. Majority of the games that we do play, the offense is clicking. It runs like clockwork, and to put up 30 points is not far fetched at all. Edgar Asoli, if I'm saying that right, says 49 Bros in channel. Good to see you. We got another Twitter viewer says joined. It always says joined, I guess. I don't know what they do. They just click on the video and it pops up like that, something like that. But there you go. It's just a new thing for Twitter. Ryan from No Border Sports is here. Says, what's up, everyone? Good to see you. A few troubles from Twitter is there. And
I like what Somi Mara said.
What is that?
PFF is a tool, not a solution. In other words, go off the eye test, go off raw stats, and then PFF maybe as a third or tertiary evaluation tool, not as a primary one. But I will say for some positions, it's helpful because like O-line and even kind of D tackle aren't so stats. I mean, there's almost no stats for O-line and very few for D tackle since most of them don't get a lot of sacks. It's more about eating double teams and keeping your linebackers clean, and there's no stats for that. I guess there are for double teams, but ultimately, like I said, that's where I find PFF to be more useful.
Yeah, I don't pay for PFF, but I know there is a bit, most likely on PFF and on some other sites, there are a bit more advanced metrics where they do kind of break it down more so when it comes to offensive line and there are, certain win rates on blocks and things like that, which is very interesting. I just don't, I don't dive that deep into the stats and the metrics. So some people do though. David Yang is here. I call him David Yin Yang Twin. Says I'm a Lamar fan, but he should not be MVP over Purdy. Purdy has beaten better teams and he has better numbers. You know what? I want to get into this. So Cam Newton had a lot to say about Brock Purdy, and there's I think there's just major stigma. I know you've mentioned it way in the past when you were kind of I'm wary about Purdy in terms of his physical quote unquote limitations. I think he's worked on so many things and has improved on so many things in regards to things that he may have been lacking in, which has been pretty remarkable. Just the simple fact that I'm going to mention this over and over again because I doubted what he could be this season because that major UCL injury did take place. The surgery took place, and I had no idea what kind of Brock Purdy we were going to get this season. Was he even going to be able to throw it? Was he ever going to have any arm strength comparable to last year even? And this year it's even better. So just so many things that he's doing is better. But what do you think about what Cam Newton said about Brock Purdy?
I tweeted about it on the timeline. I said basically something along the lines, if Cam Newton was a better game manager like Brock Purdy, that he would have at least one ring, and that our offense with Brock is the best. It's been the best that Kyle Shanahan's had. Kyle's offense has never looked better, I said. And I said Cam changed games, but in the wrong way, which is kind of mean because that's more like towards the end. And obviously there was a time where he did carry the Panthers and they didn't have a lot of weapons. They never had weapons like us, obviously. So it was a little bit unfair, but I just didn't like some of the things he was saying about network people, insinuating that network people didn't know what they were talking about football because they didn't play. And I just feel like sometimes when you play, you're biased. And I feel like he's kind of biased against game managers because Cam lost in the Super Bowl to a game manager. And now you wouldn't call prime Peyton Manning that. But, man, Peyton Manning on the Broncos, he got carried by that team. Absolutely. They had a crazy defense and crazy weapons. And, you know, he could barely even throw the ball anymore. But he could just get it to the right people, you know, at the right time and let them do the work. And so I think Cam is a little biased against game managers because of that.
Yeah, when Peyton Manning was in that Super Bowl, he was on the last legs of his career.
Yeah.
But he stumbled across a perfect situation, just a stacked, loaded Broncos team, obviously, in terms of the defense. And yeah, but, you know, we all know Peyton Manning was amazing at one point in his career. But, you know, some people say that he didn't, you know, he beat a weak Bears team and all this. At the end of the day, you know, you win a Super Bowl, you win a Super Bowl. And he did a great job in terms of protecting the football that year. That was like the ultimate game manager season, you know, just like the picture perfect game manager season. Nothing flashy at all about it, but don't mess things up for us and do just enough for us to win. That's pretty much what he did. And Cam Newton was really, really good at one point, like you mentioned. I mean, I was a candlestick when he beat the 49ers with the Panthers, and Steve Smith was there. He had Steve Smith to throw to Greg Olsen back when Greg Olsen was obviously pretty good back then, and he was a very great tight end. And
before he became a shill for the Eagles.
Oh man, it seems like every time I watch a Niner game and Greg Olsen's it's almost like the Chris Collinsworth syndrome, where like it's just like, okay, the moment I announce a Niner game, I'm just gonna be here to hate on the Niners the whole time and pump up whoever else they're playing. You know, that's what Greg Olsen kind
mind
of
of a center, Bash, when Lane Johnson kept false starting. He's like, oh, he's got the mind of a center. I was like, oh, shut up.
I don't know how anybody could defend that. That is so ugly, and it's for somebody who's regarded as the best right tackle in the game, and Lane Johnson is so great and he gets all these accolades. Like,
Holden.
He has the ugliest get off of the line of scrimmage I've ever seen, and it's always way too early. I mean, the refs called it once when we played them.
Yeah,
and they didn't call any of the holds he had on Bosa.
No.
And then one time he jumped on top of Bosa and laid on him with all his body weight or whatever. Okay, cool. The announcers pointed that out. But why don't you point out all the previous plays or the plays after when he was grabbing Bosa's jersey? You know. Yeah. So it is what it is. I'm not trying to say Lane Johnson's not a good player, but it's just, you know, it's just lame when you see that.
David McNiner at 3:33. He asked Ted Brock Purdy with the IRD. Purdy can help us win a Super Bowl. How far will he climb? Well, David, it's less. I mean, I did say earlier in the season, like he has to win a Super Bowl or like he's not elite or something like that. But later on, I walked it back. I said, look, if he's playing great, like the way he's been playing the last 5 games, you know, starting with the Jags and just, you know, ending on Sunday with, hopefully not ending, but continuing on Sunday with the Seahawks. you know, if he's playing like that and we have like tons of injuries and we don't win the Super Bowl, or we have some fluky play and we don't win the Super Bowl, like I'm not going to hold that against Brock Purdy. I've always said like QB wins, you know, they mean something, but they don't mean everything. They also don't mean nothing. So like, it's not so much about what we do this season as how Brock plays. And if he keeps playing like this, I don't know, I'd say the sky's kind of the limit. I do, you know, talking about Mahomes being number one, he's definitely my number one. And Steve-O right down below there at 334 said it took me 4 years to give Mahomes respect. Took about that long for me too, because I think he played us in year 3. And then in year 4 was when they played the Bucks in the Super Bowl. And it's funny because that's when they lost. They didn't score a touchdown. People go, what? That's when you gain? I was like, yeah, that's when I gave him respect for Mahomes, because he had no center, no left tackle, no right tackle. Should put that in different order. No left tackle, no right tackle, no center. And in his weapons dropped like 3 to 5 passes, and a couple of those turned into interceptions. He was like running for his life the whole day, but he made some great throws under duress, and it's just like his team let him down. So yeah, it'd be really tough to pass Mahomes. But you know, if Brock balled out completely like what I'm talking about, plus won the Super Bowl this year, like I don't give Mahomes a lot of credit for the Super Bowl against us because of the refs in that one. So I'm not going to say he couldn't pass Mahomes this year. It'd be really tough to do. It'd have to be pretty damn flawless, because obviously Mahomes has a big body of work. But I would say 2 is realistic, you know, realistically possible this season.
I wanted the 49ers to draft Mahomes, because I was always high on him. I just had this feeling that he was going to be good. And the moment I saw him play in the NFL, I was like, wow, this guy's really, really good.
I wanted Deshaun Watson.
You want Watson? Yeah.
Well, he beat Bama in the Natty, and you know, he went to Clemson, and yeah, I thought Watson was the guy to get. And then if you weren't going to take a QB like they said, I was like, take the other guy from Stanford, not Solly Thomas, but CMC.
Well, we got him anyway. So
yeah, no, we got him back anyway. That's true.
I want to throw this up about Purdy really quick. Brian Rennick from Twitter. Shout out to him. He put it out. He said,
yeah,
I thought this was pretty funny. He said, Brock Purdy has broken so many brains with his play that the new criteria for MVP level quarterback play is as follows: 1, cannot have a good coach. 2, cannot have more than one weapon. 3, every pass must be a tight window throw. 4, the wide receivers must fall down immediately after catching a pass. I thought that was hilarious. So
yeah,
definitely had to share that.
And any one of those things, you know, in a vacuum, yeah, it sounds ridiculous. But when you have all those things going on, and it's not just like, because people go, oh, well, so-and-so had weapons too, and they won the MVP. But so-and-so did not have our weapons, because, like, you know, ever since we got CMC, I've been saying best group of weapons in the NFL. But I've only been talking about present day, you know, 2022 through now 2023 season. But now people are finally starting to figure it out, and they're starting to say, this is one of the best weapons groups of all time. And then you got Kyle, who is clearly an elite play caller. And our O-line is underrated. You know, we the ranking fell some during the season, but I think whenever it came up, I don't know if it came up with you, Bash, but on any other show when it came up, I was like, no. That's only because Trent was injured and out. You know, we're much better than the statistics look, and it's starting to bear out. And now, especially with Feliciano playing, it's starting to bear out. So, you know, it's just there's some merit to those knocks. I mean, otherwise, Purdy is prohibitively the best stats in the NFL, especially for how few times we throw the ball. But I guess that can be used against you too. You can say, oh, the defenses aren't ready for it when you don't pass a lot. But he's killing it statistically. Our offense, as you mentioned, is like by far number one in efficiency now. It's like I posted that up under that Cam Newton thing. It was the NFL. It was a success rate. We're well over 50% success rate. And the next team, the Bills and Dolphins are closer to 48%. And then EPA per play, the Bills, Dolphins, and Cowboys are all around 0.1, and we're pushing up on 0.2 EPA. So it's like we're out in front by quite a bit. It's the best offense in the NFL right now. And so anyway, I think Purdy is a big part of it, no doubt. It's just that the better the surrounding pieces are, especially like when it's looking like CMC's got 1,000 yards, Ayuk's got 1,000 yards, looks like Kittle's going to get 1,000 yards. Then it starts to be like, well, is it the weapons? And both can be true. I mean, Purdy's doing great and the weapons are doing great. Especially when CMC's in that conversation for MVP by himself, it diminishes the Brock Purdy MVP argument. But somebody asked me the other day, and I'm like, damn, I can't say Dak deserves it more than Purdy. So, I guess I'm on board for Purdy MVP now too, just because it seems like it's a QB award, and there's no other QB I'd give it to. So there you go.
Well, see, and I don't think, and for me, it's either way. I'm not gonna say I care less, but if Purdy doesn't win the MVP, I'm gonna be like, okay, whatever, that's fine.
I just feel like the MVPs are CMC and Tyreek. I think I'm
just more worried about what the team does. But for the simple fact that Purdy's in the MVP conversation and he's putting up MVP type numbers is definitely what I'm happy about, and what impresses me, which is a good reason why a good part of the reason why this team is doing so well. And Purdy's making throws that I haven't seen a quarterback make on this team since Steve Young. That's how I pretty much look at it. And Purdy, but you mentioned the O-line though. I've seen this O-line look really, really shaky this season, and Purdy still comes out on top on whatever play you could think of. Whether he's scrambling out of the pocket, making a throw on the run, or whether he stays in the pocket and has people hitting him while he throws it, or people in his face while he throws it. He's still completing passes on time, in stride. So he's just really, really impressive in my opinion. The eye test for me, I don't even need to look at the stat book for Purdy. Honestly, I really, really don't. I do look at stats just for the heck of it, but I just see plenty from Purdy where the stats don't need to tell me how good he is. I just see what I see on the field. I'm like, oh wow, this is really, really good. Again, stress-free football for me. I watch the games. I kick my feet up on the couch, and I have fun. I don't cuss. I don't throw things. I don't do the things that I was doing when Jimmy was our quarterback. It's just a lot more fun to watch. People can say, "Oh, Jimmy put up similar numbers last year," and blah 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 with all these weapons. It wasn't the same. It was
no more PTS JG.
Yeah, it just wasn't the same. Let's say what's up to some people that got here a little bit later though. We do have Lee Gowland from across the pond. Is it Gowland or Gowland? I think
Faithful UK.
Yeah, for the 49er Faithful UK. Says, hey, what's up, brother? Good to see you.
To the Bucks game and the gold mine. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, cool. Yep. Right. See, I was at the gold mine for the New York Giants game. Yeah, got to meet a lot of people.
That was 3 days after my son was born, and I was still in the hospital with my wife. So there was.
Were you invited to go, or?
Yeah.
Oh, you were? Okay. Oh, wow, you could have went. Okay.
Yeah, could. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you just had a baby. I get it. Yeah, I totally get it. Jesus Christ, my king says munches on popcorn. I'm not sure what he means by that, but I know him. He's watched the show in the past, so it's good to have him here. TL from 49er Faithful Elite Podcast. One half of he's always on with Mariah, and him and Mariah, they do a great job over there. And I go on with Mariah once a week on the Bring the Heat podcast. We it's a rotational podcast that we do on different channels. So good to have TL here, and I always love to hear what TL has to say in terms of his opinions on the show. I hear he keeps dropping up music suggestions on Twitter. I haven't checked his Twitter in terms of his music suggestions as of late, but I may need to do so because just need to see what he's listening to and what he recommends. Why not? We got Lo Jackson says, TL, what's good with you? Good to see you, bro. Says we have many hitters on offense. Yeah, we do. We have plenty of this across the board. This team's very stacked, and it's a lot of fun to watch. And
I didn't even mention Juice Check,
Yeah, but Juszczyk's not even a factor to me because he's barely ever on the field. It's just like, I don't know. He can block well. All I pretty much see him doing this year is blocking. I don't like. Does it really point to like, for example, I used to always say like, oh wow, just imagine if we had another tight end next to Kittle, and then people will say like, well, Juszczyk can kind of play tight end, and I'd be like, okay, cool. Why don't they just do that? But they don't necessarily run Juszczyk in a tight end type of role, so to speak.
It's not tall enough, I think.
Yeah, and he probably can't compete in terms of inline blocking either. He's just built more like a fullback running back, and not necessarily. He could do some tight end type things. He's got nice hands, so to speak. And who else is here? I don't know if this is the real Ramilia or the fake Ramilia, but he is here. dropping an emoji of a VHS tape or whatever it's worth. Warowski says the weakest link on this team is the O-line, but somehow no one talks about it. I've talked about it plenty this year. I've talked about it a whole lot. Thank you, Mobile Brock Purdy. Yeah, Brock Purdy's mobility and awareness has definitely helped circumvent any troubles we've had with the O-line. Again, I'm just so amazed at times when Brock Purdy runs around and he looks like he's about to get sacked and he doesn't get sacked. And then he somehow finds a way to get a throw off. I'm like, okay, cool. He was able to throw the ball. Oh, cool. The guy caught it. And oh, cool. The throw was on time and the ball placement was there. It's like all that really, really, really impresses me. And none of that will ever show up on the stat sheet.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. And I would say, Juice doesn't get a lot of touches, but he does do a lot of blocking and he does line up in those formations, those 21 personnel a lot. And that's really valuable because, you line up Juice and CMC in the backfield, at least one of them gets covered by a linebacker, and whoever has a linebacker on, you can split them out into the slot, and the linebacker's out there in space with no friendlies around him, all alone on an island, going, "What the hell am I doing out here?" At a massive disadvantage, and that's one of our big ways that Kyle likes to take advantage of good linebackers, and even more so if they're not good.
Very true. Kyle has a very good way of scheming up things for this offense. I can't complain, and love the fact that Kittle's used a whole lot more as of late, getting those big touchdowns. There's always like argument. You almost feel like it's only Niner fans that say Kittle's better than Kelsey. When we get Kittle in on those big plays, it's like, okay, cool. Make that argument more worthwhile. That's how I look at it.
I've been saying it all along, man. I've been saying.
Oh, you've been saying it all along? Okay.
Yeah. If you put Kittle on the Chiefs with Mahomes thrown to him from behind a much better O-line, like he's going to tear it up. He's going to do everything Kelsey does with blocking and yak added on to it. It's just that poor Kittle's had like Hoyer, CJ Beathard, Nick Mullins, Jimmy G, a little bit of Trey Lance. And then now we're finally starting to see what he can do now that he has, I always said, give him a real quarterback. I said this about our weapons last year. We have no idea what these weapons can do with the real quarterback. And now we are starting to see what these weapons can do with the real quarterback. As far as like even Debo and Ayuk have been underutilized as well too. So God bless Brock Purdy for, unlocking this offense's potential, or starting to. I think there's still more to come.
Yeah, there's still more to come. I mean, again, I'm going to go back to the doubts that I had for Purdy about the whole injury thing. And despite the injury thing, I was thinking, because I had seen other quarterbacks do it with other teams. So the offseason, the doubts were running across my mind that, well, maybe not necessarily a fluke, but I have seen quarterbacks go on little hot streaks, and then they never come back from that, and they look very, very average and weak at times. Like the Nick Foles, who was the guy that used to play for the Vikings? I'm forgetting his name. He had one really good year for the Vikings.
Case Keenum.
Case Keenum, yeah. I was thinking Chase Daniels. I don't know why, but I knew that wasn't his name.
That's close, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, every now and then you see little flashes in the pans or whatever. And it was just like, okay, well, last pick of the draft, and then now he's hurt. It's like, what do we really, really have in this guy? But in the offseason, shout out to Larry Krueger. Larry Krueger did ask him, Purdy, like, do you think do you have any room for improvement or anything like that? Because a lot of people thought, like, from what we saw last year with Purdy, that like he hit his ceiling right away in his rookie year because he has a limited skill set. They said, oh, well, what you see from Purdy right now doesn't, he's not going to get any better. And the doubts were kind of there, but it's just so weird.
Stuff like that. I said that I thought he was close to his. I always said I thought he could improve with timing and getting better synchronization with the weapons. But I never thought he would throw deep balls like this. Never. No chance.
Yeah, I mean, who in their career has improved their deep ball? I mean, a lot of people say Tom Brady did. I just forgot what his deep ball looked like when he first started. I know towards the end when he was getting really, obviously when he hit his prime, his deep ball was sensational, was excellent. So, and we all know that Tom Brady was kind of a game manager the first time he won the Super Bowl too. Like if you compare Tom Brady that year to when he won the Super Bowl to what Purdy's doing this year, Purdy's doing a whole lot more, But then again, Tom Brady was in a situation where he didn't necessarily have to be the guy right off the bat. They just thrusted him into the lineup. But yeah, it's just interesting. I mean, I'm totally enjoying this Purdy thing. But Purdy was approached by Larry Krueger in the offseason earlier this year, and Larry Krueger was asking him about, his progression and if if he's going to get any better. And what Purdy was telling him was like, oh, yeah. And then this offseason, I know way more about this offense than I ever did last year. I had no idea what was going on at times last year. And then the way he's fixed his deep ball is pretty remarkable. It's not this like deep ball where it rainbows in the air like Patrick Mahomes and you're like, oh, wow, look at that. But it kind of reminds me of a Joe Montana deep ball where just like the timing and the accuracy and the ball placement are right there. And it's like he barely ever throws a deep ball, but when he throws it, it connects, right? And then that's all you can ask for.
Yeah, I mean, I was saying in the offseason that was hyperbole to compare, Purdy to the greats, to Montana, to Young, to Brady, to Mahomes, to Josh Allen. And he still doesn't have the physical tools of those more recent guys, or Steve Young either, let's be honest. But, all these comparisons, the better he plays, the more and more he keeps playing really well like this, the less and less it's hyperbole. He's doing great. And obviously you have to win a lot of rings to be compared to Joe Montana. You got to be clutch. You got to have some big comebacks and stuff like that. But I can see what you're saying with style of play. It's starting to be less and less unreasonable to make these comparisons.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was just throwing out the deep ball comparison. That's all. Wasn't necessarily throwing out the whole player comparison. Never went that far. I never will until I see, you got to win a whole bunch of Super Bowls. And
I'm starting to get there myself. I mean,
but Rex Ryan himself and a few other people on TV, Rex Ryan's former NFL coach, he does say there is a calm, cool collectiveness factor that Brock Purdy does bring to the table that does remind you a bit of Joe Montana. I mean, Rex Ryan himself was pointing that out. So I hate it's like very taboo to say Joe Montana. It's almost like more acceptable to say Steve Young. But they were saying, like, in comparison to Montana and Steve Young, he is more, in some ways, more like a Montana than Steve Young.
Yeah,
and actually, Montana early in his career did have some good mobility. Actually, it wasn't like he was just a statue or anything like that.
No, 4.6 or whatever he was, 4.7 was fast back then. So for a quarterback, so yeah.
And the guy who says Purdy is Montana 2.0, he always tells me that the first time he saw Purdy play against the Dolphins, his mom told him right away in that Dolphins game, or maybe it was a Tampa Bay game, I don't know, the second game, that, oh, he reminds me of Joe Montana. He's like, my mom doesn't know anything about football, but the fact that she said that, I believe it, because look at him play out. He always tells me that, so I had to throw that out there. And he says my mom said so.
I thought they were crazy, but starting to make it look like I was the crazy one.
Let me shout out Trey for VA. He says, finally, it was his birthday yesterday. Big 49er fan from Virginia. If you know the Rombo Show, he's a very well-known caller here. I don't talk politics on this channel, but I do have to bring this up because I see a few things that Free Palestine and God bless our Palestinian brothers and sisters. Thank you, Warowski. There's I don't care what your religious beliefs, political beliefs are, or who you side with and want to take sides, but there's a major humanitarian crisis going on in the world right now. Major, just over 20,000 dead in a short period of time, most of who are children, actually. The average age of the population there is 24 and under. So it's a very, very crazy situation there. I've posted a lot about it on my social media. I don't post politics on my social media, but when I see little kids and babies being blown to shreds, I'm gonna mention it. So it's something that needs to end ASAP. That's the way I see it. So thank you guys for mentioning that. And if I missed anybody else in the chat, I don't think I did. Anything else you want to cover? I don't know if I missed anything in the notes, or if you have anything in your notes that you want to cover. Go ahead.
I don't know. Last I saw, the point spread for the Cards was 13.5. Do you think we cover
13.5? Oh, I do score predictions. There you go. Go ahead and drop your score predictions in the chats. I know there was one dropped earlier. I think it was from Fazil, if I'm not mistaken.
We're down to 12.5.
Tyler Murray asked what my score prediction was. I already have my score prediction. It's 35-10. So I say they cover. And you said it's at 12.5 right now?
I don't know. 12.5 is a lot, I feel like, but especially with Armstead and Hargrave out.
Yeah. I mean, the Kyler Murray factor and those guys being out kind of worries me a little bit, but I don't know. I just think this team is so damn good right now.
Yeah, I'll say we cover. I'll say 31-17.
Okay, you're saying 31-17. I'm 35-10. Low Jackson says 37-9. And shout out to everybody who's going to the game too. I think I think you're going to the game. I know Mariah is. He says you can compare traits of quarterbacks without saying they're on that level. QB said, yeah, of course, yeah. So when we make certain comparisons to certain traits and certain aspects, we're definitely, at least for me, I'm definitely not saying that this guy is that next guy, but other people may say it early on, and they're more than welcome to. What up, Barry Baller 18 says, "What's up, Ted and Bash? Good to see you." And
We're in the house. What's up, Eric?
Warowski says, yeah, he said Eric. His real name is Eric, guys. But I love saying Barry Baller. One of my favorite names. Warowski says, Sam Darnold starts the fourth quarter in garbage time, 35-10. Okay. Hey, that'd be nice. Give Purdy some rest. James Journal from the UK says 42-17. Oh, okay. Whoa. You're going the trap game aspect here. You're saying that we can win, but a close one, 23-20. I'd hate to see one of those things where just Kyler Murray just runs around though and just, oh my gosh, just looks like the Speedy Gonzalez out there, just gives us fits. That would just drive me nuts.
Get a bunch of roughing the passer, roughing the quarterback.
I know Dre Greenlaw just picks him up and pile drives him to the canvas and
suplex.
Yeah. And, oh my gosh, I said it way before Dre Greenlaw got ejected from one of the games. Way before I said before that he reminds me of Draymond Green because I'm a Warriors fan. Watch the Warriors all the time. TL says 31-13. Are you going to the game, TL? I mentioned that earlier. I know Mariah's going. A few other people are going. 31-13 for him. He says,
Draymond's taking it to a whole new level, though, now.
Draymond. I mean, I don't get why he, like...
Draymond's my guy, but, like, he's taking it too far this time, I think.
Well, the first one was a Rudy Gobert chokehold. That was pretty extreme.
Well, he gets a 5-game suspension, and, he's back for what? Just a handful of games. And back at it again. It seems like it's happening more and more and quicker, less time in between. It seems like he's getting worse, not better. And I think I'm finally off Draymond, unfortunately. I gotta say.
And he was really, really one of my favorite players. So, for quite some time, especially for the first title they won. I thought he's really funny at times too in press conferences, and he just he was kind of like our Dennis Rodman, undersized guy, but he'd guard all 5 positions. He did great work guarding centers throughout his career. He was only 6'7", and just a spiritual, like a team leader, and get everybody hyped up in the heart and soul of the team. But I don't get how it's weird though. Like when somebody progresses through their career and usually they become more mature. And Yusuf Nurkic, I thought I missed something. I was like, let me go back and watch this play over again. He probably shoved him or elbowed him in the back really, really hard, and then it just hit a nerve and he turned around. Not saying he was supposed to punch him, but I went back and watched it, and all he was doing was this. And next thing you know, the guy just throws around and nails him. I'm like, whoa, was that really called for? Like, that was just crazy. Barry Baller says Warriors used to be fun to watch. This year, not so much. Early on, it was fun, but I don't know about now, man. But who knows what's happened? At least my boy Jonathan Kuminga is going to be getting more playing time. I love Jonathan Kuminga. A lot of people kind of doubt him a little bit, but I'd just love to see him get more minutes and more run, and that in general should help him out by default. TL says Draymond Green is becoming a scumbag, to be honest. Yeah, it's unfortunate. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that guy. I really, really don't. Werowski says Kyler Murray is going to make Lenore very happy with all the Christmas gifts he's going to pass out. That'd be nice, man. Hey, let's talk about the secondary really, really quick, man. What do you think about the secondary this year?
They're lockdown. I mean, Lenore's great. Mooney Ward's great. Jair Brown's playing real well. Hufanga was good, real good before that. Gibson has been so solid ever since we got him. The only weakness was Isaiah Oliver, and we've largely eliminated him from the secondary. So, Ambry Thomas, what a nice surprise he's been. Couldn't be happier. I just want to see a little more Samuel Womack, but other than that, and obviously maybe some Jason Verrett, but I'd like to see us bubble wrap him for the playoffs, ideally.
Yeah, I mean, some people were complaining, oh, Jason Verrett gets hurt all the time. Why are we bringing him back? Look, the locker room loves the guy. When the moment the game was over, I saw him in the tunnel, just like, giving people high fives after the game, after the last game we had, and people were just happy to see him. That was when they announced that we did sign him. We got Logan and Ryan in the mix too. I don't know if we're going to use these guys or if they're just there for moral support, because Logan Ryan's had an excellent
Grant wrote an article about him saying like, "Oh, Jair Brown's on the hot seat" or something, and I was just like, I don't think so. But that did not seem right.
I'll say this. After
it's
that,
just that Hufanga went down, and then we lost George Odom to the pec or the bicep. I think it was a bicep. And so then we're just getting really thin at safety. So we brought in Logan Ryan as some.
We definitely have depth. And Borowski said the secondary has been overachieving. I'm really, really happy. I'm really proud of these young guys. I mentioned this before. I had the year that Diamondor Lenore and Ambry Thomas came out. I probably did about 30 mock drafts that year because I was just on a mock draft frenzy, and I was just having fun with it. But maybe like 5 or 6 times, I had picked up Ambry Thomas and Diamondor Lenore twice on the same mock draft. And when we had drafted them twice and we had drafted both guys, I was excited. I was like, oh, wow, this is so cool.
That never happens.
I'd love to see what these guys could do. And they've had rough starts to their career, shaky starts to their career. A lot of people said Ambry Thomas is trash or saying Diamondor Lenore ain't that good or whatever you could say. But this year, both of them are looking really nice. Even on that play when DK Metcalf beat Ambry Thomas for the touchdown, I thought he had really, really nice coverage. I thought he was going to knock the ball down, but Drew Lock threw the
beats great defense.
Yeah, Drew Lock threw the throw of his career, in my opinion. That was a beautiful throw by him. He played way better in that game than I expected.
By DK, the baby Metcalf. Taron Lewis had a good point there. He said, "I'd like to see Darrell Luter." I would too, for sure.
Yeah, but that's a good problem to have, right? You mentioned Womack, we mentioned Darrell Luter. Some people want to see Logan Ryan. Some people want to see Verrett. It's almost like an embarrassment of riches right now. The secondary. When have we had a secondary with this much promise, and they're peaking at the right time of the season too, right? I mean,
you know who else is peaking at the right time is Bosa.
Oh yeah,
8 pressures and like the last 8 or more pressures in the last 4 games in a row. And I quote tweeted it and I said something like, maybe we should have him hold out every year or something because he's getting hot right at the right time of the season. I'd say. It
took a while though. No, maybe it just took the Chase Young trade to happen, but I had a feeling that since he arrived to us late, that he would obviously things would get going a bit late, and we see how gassed he was in some of the playoff runs, and hopefully this time around the playoff run this time around, he's gonna be primed and ready, and he's gonna have some really, really nice help this time around, which is good. I noticed they're saving Chase Young a lot too. They're not giving him like crazy reps like in the Seattle game. He wasn't out there like the whole time or anything like that, and even in the Eagles game too. So that's good though. I'm okay with them saving them a little bit, and then just when it's go time against these tough teams, man, get those guys out there and get them extended reps. Yeah, but I'm just really, really happy. Back to secondary, I'm really, really happy for those young guys stepping up, and I'm happy that sideline Steve Wilkes got out of the booth, and he's just communicating with the players. And some people thought that wouldn't make a difference. It's obviously making.
I was wrong.
Okay, you're wrong, Ted. Own it, Ted. Say it, Ted. I was wrong. I was wrong.
I thought he might not have the right personality for it. And I thought, Fangio and Dan Quinn do it from the booth. And so why couldn't he? But it's clearly just this week, another comment was made about it, about how great it is to have him on the sideline. So it not only were there comments right when he came down, but there continued to be comments by players saying it's great to have him on the sideline. So yeah. Mea culpa.
Hey,
my bad, people.
And if you guys missed it, I'm not gonna say who it was, but that was an impersonation of you guys may have recognized who it was. Not like I'm a master impressionist. I can do certain voices, but I wasn't trying to match his voice or anything. More so the intensity and the passion and how he said it. And you know who I'm talking about. You might want to drop it in the chat. Otherwise,
yeah, he blocked me.
Yeah. He blocked you. So as you blocked, okay. CL says yes. Bosa and Debo are getting hot at the right time. Yes, they are. I totally agree. This like for example, back to Purdy and back to the passing game or whatever. Like for the most part, people were saying yak this, yak that, and the 49ers do get a lot of yak yards, but they're still not the number one team in yak. Kansas City Chiefs, for all those people who say that they don't have weapons, the Kansas City Chiefs are the number one in the league in yak yards. So if you ever pull that stat up, at one point in time, the 49ers were number 6 in the league. I believe they're a little bit better now. And, it is what it is with the yak. This offense is designed to get those yak plays. I mean, back when Bill Walsh was coaching up the Niners with Montana. Jerry Rice and John Taylor got plenty of yak yards. So, it's a good thing to have. And sure, the Eagles game, Debo was a yak machine in that game, which was nice though, because it just makes the quarterback's job easier. But there are plenty of other games where Purdy has thrown the ball downfield and hasn't had to rely on that yak stuff either. So it's good. It's good to have both though. Why not? I'll take it. Whatever works to win, to get the team to win the Super Bowl is how I look at it. David McNair says, "Let's effing go, sideline Steve." Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we're gonna wrap things up right now. Anything you want to talk about in terms of your channel on TED Talks Ball?
Let's go. Just for next week, we got the usual Monday. I voted for Pedro show with Pete Burge at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 Eastern, and then Ryan. I do No BS TED with Ryan 3:30 on Tuesdays, 6:30 Eastern. And then obviously First and Ted with Aaron on Wednesday, 3:30 Pacific, 6:30 Eastern.
Shout out to Aaron for 49ers First Takes. It was his birthday yesterday. He was on with Raj from RSF 49ers. Later tonight at 7 p.m. Pacific time, I'll be going live with Raj from RSF 49ers. So, it should be fun. And tomorrow I'll be going on live with Aaron at 3 p.m. PST. I'll try to knock out a post-game show on Sunday. The times are always up in the air for the post-game shows, but maybe sometime around 6 p.m. or so for the post-game show on Sunday. Thank you, Trey. We really appreciate it. It says, love this pod. Great show today. I'd love to have you on, man. I got to hit you up in the DMs and see if I can get you on one of these days. I know you got a lot of good opinions and a lot of good takes about this team, and you're just very passionate about this team in general. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Bomb with Bash and Ted. It's been a lot of fun. Appreciate everybody in the chat. You guys are awesome. Seen some new faces. Seen some people that were joining in on the Twitter broadcast. For those who are on the Twitter broadcast, just make sure that this is a YouTube podcast. So hit up the TED Talks Ball channel and like and subscribe that channel, the 49er Mighty YouTube channel. Like and subscribe. And with that said, guys, thank you for watching Ball, Bash, and Ted on the 49er Mighty YouTube channel. Keep repping those 49ers and stay 49er minded. Peace. Let's go.
Peace. Go Niners.
Oh, yeah. It's a bird buffet. The bird buffet continues. Let's eat up more birds in Arizona. Thank you very much. See ya.
Come on, 49 Faithful, let's get it.
Because it's 49er mind.
We gotta do this one time for the Empire.
It's 49er mind. It's 49er mind.
We gotta get that brick by brick real quick.
49er mind.
Yeah, yo, we can't listen to them haters, man.
49er mind.
We from the Bay.
49er mind.
We them San Francisco 49ers.
49er mind.
We got that red and gold blood inside us.
49er mind.